An exclusive look now into the cartel and their control, not just in Mexico, but right here on American soil. NewsNation getting an exclusive tour of what Border Patrol calls cartel territory in Roma, Texas, which is a small town that sits right across the U.S. Mexico border. We captured the moment cartel traffickers confronted our NewsNation team inside a zone that's become the flashpoint of an evolving turf war as the American government fights to reclaim control. And border correspondent Allie Bradley was on the scene for that exclusive access. So, Allie, tell us what happened when you came across those cartel traffickers.
Yeah, hey, Nicole. So we were out with the Border Patrol on an exclusive ride along here in the Rio Grande Valley sector, specifically right where we're standing in Roma, Texas here. And this is an area that they say that the cartel controls all the illegal activity. They're controlling what and where things cross every single day. And we were essentially in their way yesterday. We were on their turf while we were down there on the boat. So take a look here at what happened and what we experienced down on the water yesterday while we were on this ride along. Suspected cartel members, they began throwing rocks at us as soon as we pulled up near what Border Patrol says is a known smuggling location. This is a scout house. It has the writing CDG, or Cartel del Golfo, aka the Gulf Cartel, which was designated as a foreign terrorist organization by the Trump administration. You can see their letters spray painted in black right there on the outside. A wave of people, a surge of people ran to the riverbanks in a very aggressive posture. Take a listen to what Border Patrol had to say about the incident.
It is something that we have seen in this area, and a rock is considered a deadly weapon. Everybody knows about the Gulf Cartel. That in itself lets you know the location that we're at, how we have to be a little more vigilant in those areas. It can be something, them trying to do, you know, a scare tactic on us, right? Something to show their presence, that they're there. And obviously they've come out of that house that has that lettering on it.
So Agent Smallwood goes on to tell us that they are seeing an increase in cartel activity when it comes to narcotics like fentanyl being smuggled both between the ports in these areas and also at the ports, because those cartel members are not able to make the money that they were making by moving thousands of people into the United States illegally. And the reason that that CDG scout house, we're showing you this live here back on camera, is in kind of the perfect location is because they're able to move drugs and humans very easily right there to that island, which is actually U.S. territory, but it's kind of an area that they cross the river. They'll hide out there until they know that the Border Patrol is gone. They have scouts everywhere that are watching. They send up drones, Nicole, to see when the area is clear, and that is when they will move their product or their people into the United States illegally.
I'm just lost and disappointed that they went to this extent. Me being involved in drug trafficking and cartels, I will say, just because there's some writing in some random house that says, I guess, Cartel del Golfo, it doesn't mean that they're cartel members. Obviously, what I saw was, you know, a family or something of people throwing rocks. I think it's not right for someone to be labeled that without the proper information, especially just because they're on the other side of the border or in an area that's controlled by drug cartels, which it is. It is a place that, you know, cartels actually have operations in, that they mention it themselves, that control all the illegal activity. But there's many innocent people and there's many families that live in these environments, and not just because they live there makes them criminals. A lot of times these cartels exploit these type of families and these people who live right around, you know, alongside the river, alongside the border, and they're, as you know, victims of these drug cartels, just like everyone else. Just because they're throwing rocks and obviously they're upset that they're being recorded for some reason. I think it's not right for them to be labeled as drug cartels, or, you know, that there's a safe house without the right information. Just because someone spray painted, you know, on the wall, and we all know that there's spray paint all over the place, and there's, you know, people that will go spray paint other people's property. It doesn't make them, you know, members of a drug cartel, which is unfortunate that this is a type of propaganda that's being shown on national TV. If I had to profile, those did not look like cartel members to me. I think we all know what type of cartel operations are being operated in those in those borders, and that is not, to me, that did not look like a cartel operation or a cartel house or anything like that. But it's unfortunate. I think that this type of propaganda kind of just affects the United States and people who may not have another, the real information. But again, maybe in the NewsNation reported this is what they actually believe, and Custom Border Patrol said this to them, and I would probably argue with Custom Border Patrol for them to think that they really believe that. I think that, some of these reporting is basically great for them because they need the help, but I just think that this is not the right way to go about it. Again, I'm not saying that these drug cartels don't control the area there and probably, are for sure responsible for most of those violence, but we'd have to look at to see what's really going on in these areas, and especially at the border. And I'm going to bet that Roma, Texas has very little violence, but I'm sure that there's a lot of illegal activities going on. But I don't think it's right to label just everyone who lives on the river as cartel members.